The Kenya Defence Forces operates a wide variety of weapons, from classic rifles like the G3 to modern carbines like the M4, tanks, artilleries, armored vehicles, and even light attack helicopters. But how do these weapons really stack up against what our neighbors in Eastern Africa use? What are the continent's strongest militaries field, and what's considered top class globally? Before we rate any weapons, here's how our grading works. We will use a 6-step scale from S to F. S is for super, the absolute cream of the crop, top shelf stuff. E is for excellent, really solid, just shy of perfect. G is for good, above average, dependable, but nothing flashy. A is average, meaning it works, but don't expect fireworks. D is below average, still usable, but with clear drawbacks. And then there is F, which is a fail, old, obsolete, or just not fit for purpose anymore. A quick disclaimer though, this is going to be subjective and not as exhaustive, and only represents this channel's opinion. We are certain a lot of our viewers will have different opinions on some of the kits and vehicles we are going to talk about today. Apologies if we may have missed on some of the equipments you may have been interested in. Remember, this rating isn't absolute science, but it gives us a fun and useful way to see where KDF shines and where it might be lagging behind. Now that we are done with the ratings explanation, let's get to the gist of things, and to start us off, our personal weapons. The first one being rated is the G3 assault rifle. The G3 has been the Kenya Defence Forces trusty workhorse for years. A rugged 7.62 by 51mm rifle that is accurate, durable, and hits like it means business. But let's be honest, it's also a bit of a heavyweight and kicks like an old mule. And it's missing the modular rails and gizmos modern troops expect. Regionally, Kenya's neighbors mostly rely on AK-47s and AKMs, lighter and easier to handle, but less accurate at range, which actually gives Kenyan troops a slight edge in precision and hitting power per shot. On the continental scale though, South Africa fields the R4 and R5 series, modern 5.56 rifles based on the Galil assault rifle, much lighter and more adaptable. While North African armies are already moving to NATO standard rifles like the FN SCAR and the M4 variants. Globally, the game has shifted even further, with Western militaries adopting modular 5.56 and even next generation 6.8mm rifles, packed with optics and tech. That leaves the G3 looking dated. It is solid and dependable, but clearly behind the curve. On our scale, the G3 lands around G ratings at a regional level. We then give it A ratings at continental level, and at a global level, we give it below average D ratings. Next online is the FN SCAR. While not fully issued to all KDF personnel, the FN SCAR is a very different beast compared to the G3s. Built in Belgium and favored by NATO Special Forces, the SCAR is basically a modern soldier's Lego set. Lightweight polymer body, low recoil, and rails everywhere for optics and gadgets. It comes in both 5.56 and a 7.62 versions, letting troops choose between speed and stopping power. And those KDF units that use it enjoy a real edge in precision and adaptability. Regionally, almost no regular forces match this level. Most armies still lean on the AK pattern rifles, while on the continent, only select elite units in countries like Botswana, Egypt, Morocco, or even South Africa routinely feed rifles in the SCAR's class. Globally, it goes toe-to-toe with the HK416, M4A1 submod, and the Germany's G36. It isn't quite the bleeding edge XM7, but it's close. Practical verdict: sleek, reliable, and highly modular. Regionally, we give it a super S rating. Continentally and globally, we give it an excellent E, simply because there are others better than it. Next of the assault rifles is the M4 carbine. The M4 carbine started off in Kenya as the possible and gradual replacement of the G3. And honestly, it was a big leap forward. The M4 is light, modular, and handles like a dream. Perfect for urban operations, peacekeeping patrols, or those fast-moving situations where the G3 feels like you're dragging an anchor. Sure, it sacrifices some of the 7.62 stopping power, long-range thump, and the ability to entertain rough handling that AKs and G3s provide, but in return, you get rails for optics, night gear, and suppressors. Basically, turning every rifleman into a mini high-tech package. In the region, most armies' regular soldiers are still glued to AKs, so Kenya's switch gives its troops a real step up. On the continent, only a few heavyweights field rifles at this scale. Globally, the M4 is still the standard NATO workhorse, so Kenya is playing in the big leagues. The only real headaches is juggling two calibers, 5.56 and 7.62. But overall, the M4 is a positive, solid move toward modernizing the KDF. Ratings: at a regional level, we give it an excellent rating. At a continental level, it gets also an excellent rating, while at global level, we give it good ratings. For squad weapons, we will start with the FN MAG. If you need non-stop suppressive fire, the FN MAG and its US derivative, the M240, is the kind of workhorse you want beside you. A belt-fed 7.62 by 51mm general-purpose machine gun built for endurance, range, and sheer stopping power. Kenya fields the MAG where sustained fire matters: vehicle mounts, static defense points, and infantry support. And it pairs nicely with KDF's 7.62 logistics. Compared with lighter squad automatics like the 5.56 M249 or the ubiquitous PKM family, the MAG gives up a bit of portability but wins on sustained fire, endurance, reach, and terminal effect. In short, it's the difference between a pop gun and a pressure washer. Regionally, many East African forces still mix PKMs and older general-purpose machine guns. So, Kenya's MAGs put it at least on par or a notch ahead in reliability and serviceability. Continentally, pro-militaries in Southern Africa and North Africa feed comparable 7.62 GPMGs, often paired with 50 cal mounts for heavy work. Globally, the MAG M240 is still a gold standard, proven, widely supported, and simple to keep running. Downsides: it's heavy, eats belts, and needs solid logistics. Comparative breakdown: we give it excellent across regional, continental, and global levels. We then move to artilleries. The Nora B52. The Nora B52 is the wheeled 155mm howitzer that gives armies big artillery teeth without the tank transport drama. Think truck-mounted Thunder. For Kenya, it brings modern 155mm punch with automatic loading, decent range of 20 to 40 plus kilometers depending on rounds, and a quick shoot and scoot mobility. Perfect for long roads and dispersed fronts. Regionally, Nora B52s put Kenya into the same ballpark as countries investing in truck-mounted 155s. At a regional level, we give it excellent rating. Continental, since it can't beat what the South Africans have, that is the G6, we give it a good rating. And at a global level, we give it average for its mobility, punchy, and grit value. The Vickers MK3 main battle tank is very much the budget Toyota of the armored world. Not flashy, not cutting edge, but reliable, rugged, and easy to keep running. Kenya's Vickers brings a 105mm L7 gun, decent road speed, and a diesel engine that mechanics can actually work on without having a PhD, or at a price tag that fit the KDF's budget. The trade-off against regional and continental rifles rolling with heavier Soviet and Chinese machines like the T-72s, T-90s, or modernized Type 59s, the Vickers is simply outgunned and under-armored. Globally, it's nowhere near the league of the Western heavyweights like the Leopard 2, M1 Abrams, or Challenger 2. For Kenyan needs of mobility, peacekeeping, and cost-conscious operation, it still does the job. Ratings at a regional level, it would get below average, continental level, still below average, while globally, that would be a fail. And lastly, is the MD-500 530 light attack helicopters. Kenya's MD-500 and MD-530F Cayuse warriors are the scrappy underdogs of the attack helicopter world. Light, agile, cheap to run, and surprisingly effective in the hot and high conditions of East Africa. Armed with machine guns and rocket pods, they are perfect for reconnaissance, close air support, and counterinsurgency operations where flexibility and cost efficiency matter most. Regionally, that makes Kenya stand out because few neighbors field purpose-built light attack scouts. Uganda, for example, went for the opposite direction, buying Russian Mi-28 Havoc gunships. Sure, the Mi-28 brings more raw power and survivability, but it also comes with a giant price tag, complex logistics, and demanding maintenance. On the continental stage, Kenya's MD-530s fall below South Africa's advanced attack platforms or North Africa's AH-64 Apaches in sheer combat punch, but they are much easier to keep flying and better suited for low-intensity conflicts and rapid reaction missions. Globally, they can't compete with modern fully networked gunships, but for Kenya's budgets and mission profile, they are a clever fit. Ratings at a regional level, these little birds get an excellent rating for being agile and economical, but overshadowed by Uganda's Havocs. At a continental level, it gets good ratings, while at a global level, it gets A for average. Well, that's the end of our tier list ratings. One takeaway from this is that while some of the tools KDF has are still effective, their time for effective and efficient operational capabilities is running out, and much needs to be done. Anyway, I hope I haven't offended too many of you, and I would be interested to know what you think. Would you have ranked these tools differently? If so, let us know on the comment section below, and thank you for watching.